The title of this is Four Women in America's Injustice System. Off the top, please excuse my profound dialect in advance. However, there are some things that I must be blunt about. Three of these women you should know very well. They are part of historic events in America, but all four have something to do with America's injustice system. Just follow me, let me paint. The first woman, Sarah Page, a white woman, was the cause of a massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, aka Black Wall Street. My question is, how in the hell can a mob destroy 30 city blocks which was being defended without the police, the National Guard, or the FBI trying to stop it? I'll wait. 30 city blocks of prime real estate were destroyed all because a woman told a little white lie. Where was the peacemakers? You know the story about Black Wall Street. If not, look it up. The second woman, Frances Fannie Taylor, another white woman that alleged that she was assaulted by a black man. Just like Black Wall Street, a white mob destroyed this black town by the name of Rosewood in 1923. How in the hell can a white mob destroy an entire town without the peacemakers, police, whatever you want to call them, the National Guard, and the FBI interceding? I'm just saying, if you are not familiar with the history of Rosewood, look it up. I would love to go in depth about these two towns, but I gotta paint. I gotta get to the point. So in a nutshell, two white women told little white lies and both black towns were destroyed. The third woman, Carolyn Brandt, another white woman that had a 14-year-old brother by the name of Emmett Till, abducted, tortured, and lynched in 1955. She claimed that Mr. Till was flirting with her. Flirting? Come on, man. Can't give nobody no compliment. So where was the peacemakers, the National Guards, and the FBI when Mr. Till was abducted, tortured, and lynched? The reason I keep mentioning the police, the National Guards, and the feds is because these organizations were formulated in those days. Look it up. The National Guard was formed in December 1636. The so-called peacemakers, police, slave patrol was formed in the early 1700s. The feds was formed in July 1908. It's very imperative that you are informed with this information for the remainder of this topic, for women and America's injustice system. The fourth woman, Radiance LaJuan Lewis. A 33-year-old black woman was found butt-ass naked in a ditch outside of Enid, Oklahoma on July the 14th, 2022 in Garfield County, only 68 years since Mr. Till's abduction, torture, and lynching. This young woman's body was found a mile away from her car, butt-ass naked in a ditch. Butt-ass naked in a ditch. It's been well over 6 months and still there's no autopsy or assault kit completed. I was told that her cell phone was in her car. How many black women that you know that's gonna be seen without their cell phone? Exactly. Her shoes nowhere to be found. Her dress about a football field away from her in some Johnson grass. If you know anything about Johnson grass, that shit would slice your skin open. So she didn't walk through that Johnson grass because they said that she didn't have no bodily harm to her. So her keys about 100 yards away from her body. Visualize that, people. The reason I know about this information is because Radiance was my estranged wife, and the so-called law enforcement informed me about her demise on the 16th of 2020, July the 16th, 2022. Allow me to give you a historical timeline of these events that transpired throughout this still pending investigation. The last time I talked to Radiance was on Tuesday, July the 12th, 2022. She was in El Paso, Texas, headed back to Oklahoma from California to attend a funeral. The so-called police found her body Thursday, July the 14th, 2022. I found out about it Saturday, July the 16th, 2022. But at that time, the sheriff didn't tell me that she was naked. just a mile away from my car. Duly noted. However, Monday, July the 18th, 2022, the ME's office released her body. Case closed, right? I always assumed the only time a body could be released is when the autopsy was fully completed. That's what I get for assuming. Besides, that's not my field of expertise, but I would love to talk to someone that's in that field. So please share this information if you know someone that's in that line of work. Tell them to get in contact with me. On the same day, July the 18th, 2022, I called the sheriff department asking why wasn't the ME's office informed that Radiance was married. Guess what happened next? He transferred me to the investigator in charge of Radiance's case. We conversated for about 10 minutes, and then he stated that Radiance was pulled over around 5:30 a.m. on the 14th, and the officer involved asked her, "Where's your cell phone?" on body cam. That's a very interesting statement to me. How many people been pulled over and the law asks you that question? I've been pulled over multiple times and was asked put my cell phone down, but not where's your cell phone. On July the 19th, 2022, there was a little article online in the Enid News and Eagle. That's enidnews.com, titled Sheriff, Tulsa Woman Body Found in Rural Garfield County. Look it up. The article stated that Radiance was seen on video footage. The video footage I'm aware of is from a convenience store. And yes, I talked to the manager and I seen the footage. On July the 25th, 2022, I talked to the investigator in charge. The story about her getting pulled over around 5:30 on the 14th changed to the so-called peacemakers making contact with her at the convenience store at 4:55 a.m. on the 14th. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but one thing I know is those investigators are very thorough at their job. So how the hell can 5:30 a.m. turn into 4:45 a.m.? That's a major time difference. And the shit don't add up. Radiance went from getting pulled over to the laws making contact with her. That don't add up. Make it make sense. The ME's office did a SA kit, but gave the kit to the police department. The feds processed the scene and gave all the evidence to the police department. Am I tripping? None of this shit making sense. Where's the fucking justice? When I contacted the feds, they tells me they cannot investigate a pending case. So I'm thinking to myself, this is a human being found butt ass naked in a ditch, and you guys can't look into it because the case is pending? Shit. Ain't that about a bitch, man? That's some bullshit. Shout out to Dr. Tiasan Johnson for these facts that I need to share with y'all. This information comes from the Wall Street Journal, titled Murders of Black Women Rose During the Pandemic. In 2021, there was 2,077 unsolved homicides across this so-called great nation. This article stated that officials announced a $50K reward in LA to help solve a fatal stabbing of a 24-year-old white UCLA grad student, and that reward ballooned to $250,000 with private donations. The suspect was caught with the help of surveillance footage, huh? Why haven't any other officials put any reward out for the 2,077 unsolved homicide of these sisters? I'll tell you why. The same reason why two white women can tell little white lies and have mobs destroy 30 city blocks of prime real estate in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and destroy a black town by the name of Rosewood, while the so-called police, National Guards, and feds do nothing about it. The same reason why another white woman can get a 14-year-old boy abducted, tortured, and lynched, while the police, National Guards, and feds do nothing about it. Was any of these ladies incarcerated or put to death? A lot of people lost their homes, businesses, and lives just because of little white lies. Just visualize that. And it's the same reason why a 33-year-old black woman named Radiance was found butt-ass naked in a ditch a mile away from her car, and probably one of the last person to see my wife alive, has access to all the evidence, thanks to the feds and the medical examiner office. Ain't that a bitch? One thing I know about Radiance is that she's not gonna pull over on the side of the road for nobody unless it's the laws. I've been knowing this woman almost 10 years. It's going on 7 months and Radiance case is still pending. So therefore, I felt that I needed to expose America's shitty ass draws to the world. Share this information, especially if you know someone affiliated with the 2077 unsolved homicide of our sisters, or anyone that's in the ME field. I would love to talk to them. And if you're curious about about this case, don't hesitate to call Garfield County Sheriff Office in Oklahoma, or the feds. I'm not tripping. It's past time for some logical and scientific answers. Subscribe to or you can subscribe to this channel. I'm in this. I'm going to see this through. I got to keep on paid. Visualize that. I got more information. I just can't put everything out there because it's a pending case. But I'm going to put what I know out there that I can put out there. It's time to wise up so we can rise up and prevent these senseless situations from reoccurring. If you don't know your history, history has a way of repeating itself. Remember Rodney King, 1991? Now look at the Memphis situation. 2023. It's nothing new, but now they programming our brothers and sisters on the force to do the works of this American injustice system. Wake up, Jacob. Pull the wool over your eyes. Pull the wool from your eyes and realize that Article 1, Section 2 of the 13th Amendment is still breathing to this day. America's justice system is full-blown racism at its best. I said it. America's justice system is full-blown racism at its best. America's justice system is America's injustice system. There is no justice in this land. It's just us in this land. My people, keep your head on the swivel. Look out for one another. Let someone know your moves. And most of all, call someone anytime you get pulled over. Call someone trustworthy doing any traffic stop. Don't trust them. They are slave patrols. Remember that. And that slave patrol are out here killing. Don't trust them. Although the 13th Amendment is still functional, the word is still living. Read it, use it, and do it. Stick to the script. To understand my mindset, you got to read Ecclesiastes 7:7 and Psalms 103:6. A well-known writer once said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. Share this knowledge. And if you want to stay informed on Radiance case, subscribe to this channel. I got to see this through. We had a covenant. It's past time for us to wise up. We got to wise up in order for us to rise up. Revelations chapter 2, verse 2 through 4 tells it better than I ever could. For women in America's injustice system. Shalom, my people. Love you. Be careful out there.